How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that your flight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath, for then there will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now and never to be equaled again. Shalom God people, I have come to transmit the revelation of 19th of September 2020. It was 20 and I was in my room meditating in the book of Revelation chapter 6 on that day. I have been studying for many days, when suddenly the Lord angel manifested and told me, take a pen in order to write what you will hear and see. Open the book of Revelation chapter 6. When the angel of the Lord spoke to me, I saw a strong light that came from the throne of God, and then I saw 4 beings that had the resemblance of angels, yet they seemed dreadful and fearsome. The glory of God prevented me from seeing their face clearly. I could not see them clearly because they were like shadow, still they were dreadful. When I was observing these fearsome beings, I heard an explosive voice that thundered with authority, saying, "Come!" Quickly I saw a white horse that was big. This horse was mounted by a knight, that wore white tunic and a crown of gold. This rider hair and beard and everything was white. When the living being called him, the white rider rushed to come forward, as if he has been waiting for this moment for thousands of years. I noticed that this rider and his horse had the same look. Their look seems empty of emotion. As they were coming down to earth, this rider was holding a bow, and on his back he was carrying a recipient where he kept his arrow. When he had entered the world of men, he began to shoot arrows to men, women and children. When his arrow was hitting the population of the world, it was causing the love of sin, pride, lies, love of the things of the world. The victim that were hit, their tendency and inclination were turned to sinful life, for they were hit by arrows of sin and spiritual death. It is written in Revelation 6 verse 2, So I looked and saw a white horse, and its rider held a bow. And he was given a crown, and he rode out to overcome and conquer. Brother, as I was looking at the white horse, I heard the thunderous voice of the living being saying, "Come!" This was a powerful voice that seemed like the noise of many water. When this voice thundered, I saw another horse that was red. The rider was also red, including his garment. This rider was more like ancient soldier. The scene was awful. The red knight was fearsome. At that moment, I saw an angel of God. He was eager to strike the earth because of the abomination from which people don't want to repent. I saw the Lord angel handing his great sword to this rider of the red horse. As soon as this rider got the big sword from the angel, he rode his horse in the direction of planet Earth with great speed. The rider of the red horse was dragging a fire that was above him. When he had entered the earth, he began to cause instability, division, revolt, rebellion and war. He caused a brother to kill his own brother for the least of offense. Because of the red rider you will see people of the same family hating one another to the point of shedding blood. He caused bloodshed like never before. The Bible say then another horse went forth. It was bright red, and its rider was granted permission to take away peace from the earth and to make men slay one another. And he was given a great sword. Then I heard the voice that said, "Come!" At that moment I saw a black horse mounted by a black rider, all black. He had a balance in his right hand. When he manifested, he stopped, as if he was waiting for instruction. I saw an angel stand before him in a relative distance addressing him, telling him, "Do not touch those who have the seal of God and the mark of the blood of the Lamb." I saw this rider lifting his balance and rode towards the earth with great speed. He was spreading famine, hunger and food shortage the way they spread sand. People were falling and dying because of hunger. He also saw cupidity on the land, egocentrism, selfishness, scorn, betrayal. In order to get food one had to betray his own brother. This is where the world is heading. There will be food shortage. But I saw that people that had received the seal of God and the mark of the blood of the Lamb were not affected. They were not reached. At that moment I heard the fourth voice saying, "Come." There was a great noise like a smash. Out of this noise manifested a rider that was riding the horse. He seems discolored like when something was decomposing, something that looked like pale but difficult to describe. This rider seems to me that he was not alive, for he had no life and he was exuded death. There was actually 2 riders, because the first one was the rider of death, and the second rider was the abode of the dead. There was a sinister atmosphere like when someone is dead. The emptiness and lack of life, I saw that the 3 previous riders were holding their weapon, but the last rider had no weapon. In truth, the weapon of the 4th rider, who was Death, is the abode of the death, for Death and the abode of the dead were bound to one another and inseparable. It was made known to me that they were like a woman working in the field harvesting crop and drop them in her basket that she is carrying on the back. The rider of Death was harvesting souls on men that he was dropping to the abode of the deads. It's mean that the 3 previous riders worked to cause Death and the 4th rider, who is Death, come to harvest. He played the role of reaper of the victim of the 3 previous rider. His aspect was that of a tall man deprived of emotion. The rider of Death was trapped in evil and wickedness that he cannot separate from, for it is too late to repent from. This was the aspect of the rider of Death. Besides being without emotion, he is always consumed by strong anguish. This rider of Death went before the rider that is the abode of the dead, and when the Lamb opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th living creature say, "Come." Then I looked and saw a pale green horse. Its rider's name was Death, and Hades followed close behind. And they were given authority over 1/4 of the earth, to kill by sword, by famine, by plague, and by the beasts of the earth.